I be like, sheesh, sunset on the beach. Make me wanna pull up on Miami with the heat. I don't know about you, but I know about me. Summertime in Florida, catch me sliding on the key, yeah.
Welcome back to the Anytime Sports Podcast Show. This is our draft special. I'm here with my co-host, Andrew.
Another thing is I want to mention, if you guys are into draft stuff, watch this episode. If you guys are avid listeners and don't really understand football as well, turn to a different episode. This episode is going to be in-depth on stats, people you don't really recognize.
Grab some popcorn.
Not fun stuff. This is going to be a long episode, long, juicy episode. Oh, by the way, Bulls say Zach LaVine will play Monday night versus Kings. That's a quick Bulls news. Some Bulls news. All right, back to this. Back to the draft news.
And even if you don't like as in-depth of a coverage, just let it play. You'll maybe catch some things, you maybe not. And if you like the video, please like and subscribe. We know we haven't been saying that, but we always would love if you would do so. We thank you and we appreciate all the love and support you guys have given us so far throughout our journey.
Yep, and if you guys appreciate having 2 uploads a week, let us know. We're going to try to do the same thing next week with more draft coverage. A draft coverage Friday, and then
too much work. News
Monday. Maybe we combine the episodes into one next week. We won't have as much news, but we'll see. Yeah, this is going to be a very long episode, like we said. Let's get right into it.
Let's get into the 40-yard dash times. We got, you want to say his name? I don't even know.
Kalon Barnes.
Kalon Barnes ran a 4.23. Very fast time. The cornerback out of Baylor. He was very fast. Fastest wide receiver is Tariq
Woolen.
Tariq
Woolen is a cornerback, ran a 4.26. Taquan Thornton, another guy from Baylor. The number 1 and number 3 fastest are from Baylor. 4.28. Taquan Thornton. They just have weird names.
I can't pronounce his name. They got really weird names. But that was the fastest in the 40-yard dash. We'll go to the bench press right now. If it would load and it'd be smart with me.
Zion Johnson.
With 32 reps.
32 reps.
Dang.
And then Jamari Slayer and Cole Strange with 31 each. Very good. I mean, those guys are all guards, which I need to be very strong for.
Very strong. Let's see who is the highest vertical in this combine.
Tariq Woolen, who was number 2 for the 40. It's very good to have these guys that can jump really high. A linebacker getting a 42 vertical.
That's a nice.
In an edge getting a 41
Let's
vertical.
say their name.
Tariq Woolen, Channing Tindall
is a linebacker out of Georgia.
And then Dominique Robinson.
An edge rusher out of Miami of Ohio, had a 41 vertical. And then the highest wide receiver is Alec Pierce with a 40.5 vertical. Let's head to the broad jump. Or just brief coverages of what went on in the draft combine.
We'll get in more detail.
We'll get more in depth in the big board when we get to the big board. But if we load,
Christian Watson 11.4, 11'4" jump. Calvin Austin the third 11.3, and Isaiah Winston 11.3. Not much. We don't really need to get into the 3-cone.
We'll get in the 3-cone.
Our 3-cone will be our last one. Zion McCollum, Dax Hill, and Tyson Anderson.
Yeah, so those are the guys that are fat with the fastest 3-cone drill. The fastest 3-cone drill was 6.48 as the times, and that was the highlight of the fastest guys, the best guys in the combine so far.
Yep, the combine was last week. We're going to cover the combine, and then after this, we're going to cover the big board of all the players that should look, what they show signs of, what teams they should go to, what teams best pick them up, and all that good stuff. All right,
let's head into the winners and losers.
Yep, we're going on to the winners and losers.
Winners and losers of the NFL Draft Combine. That is
starting off with the winners. Lewis Kine from Georgia. He's a safety. Jordan Davis, we obviously know he ran a 40-yard dash that I think he had a 4.7 on, which is amazing for being an edge rusher, which teams would love that speed. And he's 340, which is a big heavyweight, big guy coming at you at a 4.7 40. I mean, he's a great guy. We need some speed. A lot of teams need the speed. Akeem Inwaku or whatever measured at 6'4", 310. He began with the 4.9 40, which is amazing as for an offensive tackle. Brees Hall, running back Ohio State. He's also a winner. Desmond Ritter was a winner, they said.
Yeah, I'll head into Desmond Ritter. Desmond Ritter was the quarterback out of Cincinnati, was a big winner. He put up a 4.52 second 40-yard dash, 36-inch vertical, and a 10'7" broad jump, which are very good figures and help boost his draft stock. A big loser would probably be Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
As one thing it comes down to, it has to be the 8.5-inch hands. Sorry, you don't got big hands. And
we've seen that with Joey B. He fumbles the ball a lot, even though it works with him. But we're going to cover this guy, Matt Corral. He was a loser as well. He was sidelined during the quarterback's competition and the throwings. He was sidelined while Malik Willis, Carolina's Sam Howell, and Desmond Ritter were showing off their arm strength. Corral was sidelined. He did nothing but hurt his stock.
Brees Hall, is that it?
Yeah, Ohio State.
Brees Hall out of Iowa State was a big winner out of this draft. He posted a 4.39 second 40-yard dash. He was the largest back in attendance to go a sub 4.4 at 217 pounds. He's a big guy, and he might be a round one hype beginning for him. He put up kind of Jonathan Taylor combine performance, which is a very good performance. One of the big losers for a running back would be Kyren Williams out of Notre Dame. He really wasn't the best in the combine. He only weighed in at 194, and it only got worse. He managed the slowest 40-yard dash of any player in attendance at a 4.65, which is not good at all.
Nope.
And seeing him at Notre Dame, he was very fast, so I don't know what went on there. Only managed a 32-inch vertical with a 9'8" broad jump. They're all rough figures that would adjust worse even with his weight. He's not very. He didn't have a very good combine at all.
Yep, I'd agree with that. I think that's it for our winners and losers. The main highlighters.
Let me mention someone. Christian Watson, the wide receiver out of North Dakota State, a big winner. He ran a 4.36 40, a 38.5-inch vertical, and an 11'4" broad jump, all at 6'4", 208 pounds, which is some very good. I mean, he's a very tall guy, and to get that good 40 like that, he's a very fast, very good guy. He's a very good winner, and that'll definitely boost his draft stock going into the draft. Well, we won't say all of the winners and losers of this combine, but we'll definitely go into our next.
Do you want to do a mock draft? We can, or we can save that for next week.
We'll save our mock drafts for next week. We'll review some more data, and we'll go out to mock drafts. This is we're heading into the big board segment right now. Andrew's going to give you a rundown of the quarterbacks, and we'll head back into the big board, which is PFF's top 32 prospects in the draft. Their big board, we're going to go through them, go through their stats, go through their Pro Football Focus rating, and see how they compare with kind of other players. So, what about the quarterbacks of this draft? I know they're kind of bad quarterback draft, but what are some good guys that you could see?
Yep, real quick before we get into this is going to be a long, drawn-out segment. We got 179 pages to go through. We're going to be going on for a while, so stay tuned. Get your popcorn. Let's go. We got Matt Corral, Sam Howell, Malik Willis, Desmond Ritter, Kenny Pickett, and Carson Strong. I'd say the top two out of those, Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis. It looked the hottest. Possibly Desmond Ritter could fight for a number 2 spot, but I think Malik Willis has looked the hottest. His draft stock has gone up the most since his performances. He's shown a lot of signs of accuracy, which I really like. All right, we're going to get right into their big board stats. Matt Corral, college, Ole Miss. He's 6'1", 205. He has shades of Jim McMahon, which isn't a good thing and necessarily a bad thing. 5 big-time throws and 0 turnover-worthy plays versus Vanderbilt. 212 rushing yards versus Tennessee. His season stats included his PFF grade was 86.2.
Which is, PFF grade is a rank out of 100, 100 being good. The lower you are, the worse you are. Just for people that don't know what a PFF grade is.
Yeah. His completion/attempts was 261 for 392. This is his 2021 stats, by the way. His completion percentage was 66.6, although the year before in 2020 he was 71.0. Yards per attempt, 8.5. The year before that, 10.3. He looked like he had a better year in 2020. His interceptions or touchdowns to interception, he has 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Did better this year than 2020. And passer rating was 104.9. And the year before, he was 117.3.
So it's a pretty high passer rating. If you got a passer rating over 100, it's just a pretty good day indeed.
Yep.
He's a very good prospect.
Yeah, some of his pros that I've found was compact motion, generates serious torque, stands tall in the pocket, rips from a constant base, accurate to all levels, slim frame listed at 205 pounds, already dealt with multiple injuries in 2021.
Yeah.
Cons, not much throw shaping in his tape. Lasers only. Looks like a different quarterback and lacks confidence when forced past first read.
And that really could be a problem if he's throwing only lasers. You got to throw that lob ball sometimes to get it over. That could be a problem Matt Corral will face. He probably is going to be a backup in the NFL. Maybe he'll prove me wrong and he'll be very good. His tape's pretty good. He played very good at Ole Miss. So maybe some team in the later rounds will give a shot to him. But let's head into our next quarterback, which is Sam Howell.
Yep, Sam Howell went to North Carolina, 6'1", 220, shades of slower Russell Wilson, which isn't a great thing.
Russell Wilson's good.
Russell Wilson's great, but
slower Russell Wilson, I don't know.
Career highlights, 111 rushing yards and 12 broken tackles versus Duke.
In 2021.
In 2021. Career high 6 big-time throws versus Virginia. That was in 2020. Pros, arm talent for days. Elite, deep ball thrower over the course of his career, which isn't necessarily the greatest thing, but could also be great as well. Light on his feet in the pocket, can make subtle and not so subtle moves to buy time. Thick build, shrugs off defenders with relative ease with 65 broken tackles in 202. Or 2022, or 2021, that's what it was, not 202, I had a typo. Cons, he's a one and run. First instinct is to drop eyes and bolt. Cons also is unexpectedly turns down open receivers too often. Not enough anticipatory throws. Offense was almost all RPOs and go balls, leading to the nation in both.
I mean, we've seen kind of what a North Carolina quarterback is. Mitchell Trubisky came out there in 2017, and he was a one-year starter. Even though Sam Howell did start a lot more than Trubisky did start. Sam Howell, I really like his arm. I think he's got a very good arm, but I do think as the cons say, he's a little gun shy, which he'll look for a wide receiver, and if he's not open, he'll dart. And I think that's more of the North Carolina system kind of teaching him because Trubisky did that a lot. If his wide receiver wasn't open, he was darting, or he was trying to make space to create space to get the throws downfield, and most of the time it happened, but some of the time it didn't.
Yep.
Sam Howell's a very good in my opinion. I really like him. He may be a dark horse in the draft, kind of the later rounds, maybe to get him in the building, maybe see what he's all about at quarterback.
And then he's also, I'm going to do a quick summary on him, primarily a downfield passer, and he wins with arm talent. He can improve with progression. Howell cannot be so reliant on scrambling at the next level because of his dropbacks 13% of his dropbacks resulted in scrambles in 2021. He's not that kind of athlete. He has to be more patient and quicker through possessions from clean pockets. On to our next quarterback.
He's a quarterback you wouldn't want to throw in there without an offensive line. He needs an offensive line. If he's got, I mean, with any quarterback, if they got enough time, they'll throw the ball, but he needs a little bit more extra time to kind of process that in his mind and to know where the guy is open and to throw to him. Our third quarterback is Kenny Pickett. Why don't you tell us about Kenny Pickett?
Yep, he's Mr. Smallhand, 6'3", 220, shades of Sam Darnold, which is not a great thing.
He went to Pitt, by the way.
Yeah, he went to Pittsburgh. 4 big-time throws in 3 straight games versus Miami, Duke, and North Carolina. Pros, accurate on the move is a big plus, pinpoint outside the pocket. Can sting a far hash out route with ease, my bad. Obviously, arm talent from the pocket and on the move. Mobile, but always has his eyes downfield. Terrific at creating space to work. Cons, holds on to the ball to the bitter end. Second highest time to throw in the country. A bad habit of throwing off the back foot. Worrisome in how he does so on vertical shots. 1-year wonder. One of his biggest single season grading leaps we've seen in year 5.
Yeah, very good. He's kind of a one-year wonder, kind of as Pro Football Focus mentioned. He had a very good year last season. He's very good, but the poor mechanics could hurt him at the next level. The hand size, people are saying. I mean, not necessarily. I mean, it's nice to have a quarterback with a big hand that can grip the ball. I mean, but Joe Burrow didn't have the biggest hand, and he ended up all fine. It just depends where you land in the right situation. Kenny Pickett is a good quarterback, and I think he has a potential to be a very good quarterback in the future. If he ends up in the right situation with the right
Next
team.
Next we got Desmond Ridder from Cincinnati. I was watching this guy in Cincinnati. I really like him. I like how he plays. And I don't know what it is about him. I don't know. I like him. He shows shades of Josh Johnson. Career highlights: only 2 turnover-worthy plays over final 7 career games. 12 rushing touchdowns, including a 91-yard versus SMU. That was in 2020. Quick processor, best in the class. Already plays at NFL speed mentally. Straight line gas in the open field. Big play threat as a runner unaccounted for. Maybe another guy like Justin Fields who can run but also can throw. Coaches have raved about his work ethic and leadership. Has improved weaknesses every year, which is great. His cons is slightly elongated throwing motion, little dip in his cocking phase, thin frame, not as elusive as others, which has led to high sack conversion rates. And then another thing is beat up bad competition, 70.6 pass grade against Power 5 schools in the last 2 years.
He hasn't the best the ranking at all against good teams, but he definitely has some potential. You get the smaller school guys like Josh Allen was from Wyoming. I could definitely see Desmond Ridder making a good good anticipation. I really like his ability to work. His work ethic is very good. It seems like he's got a mind ready for the NFL to shape their offenses, and maybe he'll sit behind somebody that's very good. The one thing that very concerns me is that thin frame. I mean, he is a very thin frame. I don't know if you have his... you don't have his...
We don't have his picture, but if you've seen him play, he's a thin frame.
He's a very thin frame, which injuries in the NFL, there's a lot of injuries, so that is something to worry about if you are trying to draft someone like Desmond Ridder. Let's head into the 5th quarterback, Carson Strong.
Yep, he is from Nevada. His cons is primary quick, serious knee problems. He has a knee disease, possibly career-threatening. I'm listing his cons first. Statue, no escapability, has broken just 6 total tackles in his career. He's a pocket drifter, too quick to eliminate options while drifting to non-consistent pressure. Pros, gorgeous tight spiral with quick release, ideal combo for NFL windows. Arm talent, open entire field, 550-yard plus completions, most in FBS. Yep. Offense was entirely on his right arm, 50-plus dropbacks in 6 straight games. He's primarily a pocket passer that needs to work out of the pocket movement.
Definitely needs to. I mean, this guy he's going to be a career backup, if anything, if he gets drafted. Not really going to take too much about Carson Strong. But let's head into the 6th quarterback, Malik Willis out of Liberty.
Yep, we were saying Malik Willis is possibly the number 1 quarterback in the draft, even though Kenny Pickett seemed to be the number 1. We think Malik Willis could be the number 1 now. His career highlights is a career high 7 big-time throws versus Army, 12-plus broken tackles in 4 of 13 games. Arguably the strongest arm in the draft, can get velocity from any body position. He adds massive value as a runner, draftable running back if he switched. He has 146 career broken tackles. Footwork improved a ton in 2020 to 2021. He has shown he could take a coaching. Basically woefully inconsistent and has made strides but is still shown up to often. Cons, his eye telegraph his throws regularly, will stare daggers through his targets. Level of competition was poor, had some ugly outings against some Power 5 schools, which could potentially be a very, very...
That's all right.
which could potentially be a very threatening thing, but he's primarily a quarterback who needs a lot of tools and is a great athlete. He can improve in the pocket presence.
Definitely. I mean, he was at Auburn, and then he transferred to Liberty, and he had pretty good success in Liberty. Although Liberty is an independent Division I school, they don't face as many great Power 5 conferences as they said. He kind of struggled against that. Maybe that's because the people around him were not Power 5, or maybe he kind of couldn't make up for that. He's very good arm. I mean, you could see him throwing. There's a video of him throwing buckets at Liberty at the practice facility. He is a very good quarterback, and I think he'll make it somewhere. I do think so. I really like him. We know he'll be a good person, and I think he'll he'll
Yeah,
take
move
the
on,
next
yeah.
step, and he's got very good speed, which is very good, and he'll make people miss, kind of like Lamar Jackson does, maybe a little slower than Lamar, but Malik Willis is probably the best quarterback in
Yeah,
this
it's like
draft.
Lamar with more strength, kind of. Not as fast, but he could move.
All right, let's head into the PFF Big Board rankings. This is the top 32 players in the draft in the combine.
I don't know necessarily if we'll get through all 32. We could possibly get up to 15, depending how long this takes, because we got 172 pages to go through.
Oh, we'll get through it all. It goes pretty quick. Number 1 on the big board would be Aiden Hutchinson position. He's an edge rusher. He's 6'6", 265 senior. His age is 21 and a half. He played for the Michigan Wolverines. He had the highest graded edge rusher in college football. Hutchinson has multiple ways to win with his bend and quick moves and powers. He's a complete edge rusher who excels both in the run and pass, which is something you don't see nowadays. And he's a very good, and I think he'll be the number 1 pick. Some of his greatest games were 3 sacks in 3 different games as a senior against Washington, Penn State, and Ohio State. He's also played in a Power 5 conference, which is a very good. His PFF grade throughout 2019 to 2021 has been good. In 2019, it was 82.9, and then 82.5 to 2020, and then 2021 making the big step up to a 90.6 grade, which is very good. Pro Football Focus, once again, takes all the plays and the gears, and they rate them, and they come down to that rating. So, very good. In this year, he played 14 games. He played 794 snaps. His pass rush snaps, because some of those are run snaps, 426. Defensive run stats, he played 334. He had 14 sacks. He had 9 hits, and he had 51 hurries, which is very good. 51 hurries that is very good in college football, to hurry the quarterback up like that. He's had 3 batted balls down this past season. He lines up more kind of in the outside tackle. He lines up. He even line over the tackle. Sometimes he lined over the tackle 20 times, 20 snaps, but he mainly is outside the tackle, where he had 763 snaps from there. He had one in the B. He had a couple in the B. He had 4 in the B gap, but none in the A lining up. So he's more of an outside tackle kind of rusher. And off ball, he's had 7 snaps. His pass rush grade this year is a 93.4, which is a very good grade. Run defense grade, he had a 90.8. So he isn't going to be a liability in the run game, Andrew.
Yeah.
He's going to be kind of a good guy to put out there and play 3 downs maybe. A true pass set grade is 93.5. Pass rush win rate, he has a win rate of 24.9, which is a bit low, but he could kind of continue that. The run stop rate, he has an 8% chance, and where he wins is his violence, his integrity to win. He likes to hit him in the mouth, and he'll let you know he hit him in the mouth. In 2022, it was anywhere he wanted, but if it boiled down to one area, it's kind of his contact. He could kind of control offensive linemen, which is very good. You see that with kind of guys like Khalil Mack controlling offensive linemen with his punch. He's a very good. He's an all-around edge rusher. You can kind of place him in different spots, and he'll exceed. Maybe he hasn't been placed in those situations, but he'll definitely exceed. He'll be a starter day one. That is definitely improve. And what he can improve on is kind of the winning edge. He couldn't stand to add moves to win the edge. He got a lot of plays out of the inside move, but not as many outer moves, which he couldn't really get to the outside, so he inside. And in the NFL, if you're a one-trick pony with the inside move, offensive linemen are very good, and they'll realize, hey, if we just stop the inside move, this guy isn't going to be as good. But Right now, the high scissors to a rip is how he wins the edge, and you can't only win that. Shades of Kyle Van Bush. Did I say that correct?
I have no clue.
I have no idea if that is correct, but people can tell me in the comments. His balance ranking out of 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. It's a 9 out of 10. He's got very good balance on the field, very good strength, and a 9 out of 10. His explosivity is an 8 out of 10, which is very good and what you'd like to see in a pass rush. His hand usage, he uses his hands a lot to get underneath the lineman, picking him up and kind of moving away so he can get to the quarterback. His hand usage is a 9 out of 10. His bend is a little less of a 7 out of 10, but he kind of could make up for it with his hands, his explosivity, and his strength. Definitely much so. His pros, explosiveness and strength throughout his frame. He's got a big frame. He knows how to use it. Stupid good agility for a guy his size, 6'6". He's got amazing agility. His inside and corners are very deadly to the quarterback. He's very good. He's never done pass rusher. He always a high motor. He's always keep going. Some cons would be his length is poor for his height and below average for the position.
Which isn't always a bad thing.
Yeah, a little herky-jerky as a pass rusher. Doesn't always look pretty. He's a late bloomer. Late bloomer. And he was a frigid first rounder before his senior season. The most likely to have him being drafted by the Lions at 54% and the Jags at 22% and the Jets at 8%. You're going to see a lot of those guys named up there because they're in the high big board status.
Yeah, he's
they
definitely going top
have
two.
an early pick. So let's head into one of my favorite prospects, number 2 on the board, Kyle Hamilton, a safety out of Notre Dame, standing at 6'4", 220 pounds. He's a junior and he's only 20.9 years old, which 0.9 is probably close. It's close to 21.
You want me to read this one and give you a break?
You can read the next one. I really like this prospect. You can get the next one. Right. At 6'4", at 200 pounds, Hamilton is a modern hybrid defender who can do whatever you ask him for. He's a very good safety. Well, he missed his final 5 games at Notre Dame with a minor knee injury. He came down with 3 picks, 3 passes, breaks up in his first 7, which is very good for a safety. This guy is a generational safety. Like I said, this is the guy you really want on your team. I really like the Lions drafting him here because it just makes sense. His career highlights: 2 interceptions against FSU in 2021, 2 pass blocks against Louisville in his first game as a freshman, which is very good. His overall grade is kind of stayed at that 70 range, higher 70s. 2019 was his highest, which was his freshman year at 79.5. Then he was a 76.7 in 2020. In 2021, he was 76.1. He played his most games in his freshman year with 13, and then the next year 11, and in his last season he only played 7 games. He played 439 snaps in 2021. His pass rush snaps, he only had 10. His run defense snaps, he had 167. His coverage snaps, he had 262 coverage snaps. He had 20 tackles, 9 assisted tackles. So he can tackle. He only missed 2 tackles last season, which the other 2 seasons he missed 10, both of those seasons. So he definitely improved in that area. Snaps by alignment. He lined up at the D line 4 times. That jersey's about to fall. He lined up in the slot for 227 of those snaps, which he can play a man. He's a very hybrid guy, as we say. He can play zone, he can play man. He lined up in the slot a lot. In the corner, he only lined up 6 times. In the box, he lined up 87 times, so he can help in the run game. He's not going to be a liability in the run game like some safeties are. And deep coverage snaps, he lined up 114 times. And these guys, the safeties and corners, you could all think about the scheme kind of changing. At Notre Dame, they really didn't have much of the coaching staff. You getting water? And the coaching staff didn't really change till this year when Kelly left for LSU. So his coverage grade is an 80.8, very good. His run defense grade is an 68.9. He could improve. He's not a liability out there, but he could improve on his defensive run game. His missed tackle rate is 6.5%. He could get that lower, but it's not as bad. He had an improvement over this past season. His forced incompletion rate is a 10.7. Of course, that could go up higher, but that's not a terrible forced incompletion rate. The average depth of the running of a running tackle is 6.8 yards. Where he wins is kind of his range. He's built to cover some serious ground at his position. His 21 mile an hour top speed is exactly what you want in the backfield. He's very good in his range. He can play anywhere. His role, he can play anywhere. Hamilton is the kind of physical tool that can fit almost in any role you can dream of besides the defensive line. With how large his influence is, his chances are you want him around the line of scrimmage because he's a very good. He can play that line of scrimmage. He's not like your ordinary safety. He's a totally different safety. Where he can improve on is kind of his man coverage. He's still not as dominant in his pure man coverage when he's asked to do so in his career. However, he is more than has the ability to do so in the future. Shades of longer Derwin James. He's a taller Derwin James, which, as we know, Derwin James,
he's amazing.
I have his jersey right here. Derwin James is a good safety. That is a good safety. So if you're going to have comparisons, it might as well be to one of the best safeties in the league right now. His change of direction is a 7 out of 10. Could improve. His frame is a 10 out of 10. This is a big safety. It's a great safety. It's what the size you want of a safety is. His physicality is a 10 out of 10. He'll hit you, and he'll let you know that he hit him. His awareness is an 8 out of 10, very good. His speed is a 9 out of 10, so he's lightning quick, and he can get to the ball. His pros would be his frame. We've been talking about his frame, but his frame is 6'4", 220 pounds as a safety. He makes it easier to cover the tight ends. He's a high level range on the back line end, sideline to sideline. Consistent ball protection with tremendous work at the catching point. Cons would probably be short at quickness, just okay. He's hard to get moving at his size. He's a little bit bigger, so he's hard to get moving at his size. Has come in high or numerous occasions. He's come in high at the point of the ball. He's kind of gotten flagged for it a bit. That may be something the coaching could fix that. He's more high penalty for that, and his knee injury against USC to cut his 2021 season short, so we didn't really get to see him much. Most drafted by the Lions at 31%. The Jets are the next team at 23%, and the Texans at 18%. And please relieve me because I have been talking for 2 straight ones.
Yeah, you go get some water or something. I think we got to speed this up. We're going to be here all night. We're at 33 minutes on this episode so far. I think we could either read the top 5 and then go quick through the rest, or we could go detailed on 15. What do you think?
Detail 15.
Detail. All right, we're going to read the top 15 instead of the top 32. We're going to detail on all these guys. We might have to end it early. Might have to go quick depending how long this lasts. But our next one is Derek Singletary. He's a junior position cornerback, 6'1", 195. Very, very light guy.
He's a very good cornerback. I also really like this guy in the draft. You can continue. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in there.
He's 20 years old, which is very young. He's at LSU. The ranking is banking a lot on what Singletary put on tape a long time ago, but it's not as if we want to tell her anywhere. He's allowed only 41.1 completion percentage for his career and has been starting since his freshman year, which is great. His highest coverage grade in the country as a true freshman. His career stats is a 66.6 overall PFF grade, but as a freshman he was a 91.7. So he's decreased over his college years, but he still seems amazing, especially after that freshman year. Defensive snaps, he has 154. His freshman year, 986. He's decreased a lot since his freshman year. He has 76 coverage snaps, 2 receptions, 4 targets, 43 yards. This is his most recent year. His freshman year was way different. He had 589 coverage snaps, 32 receptions, 92 targets, 608 yards, 5 touchdowns. This year he has 1. He has 6 interceptions his freshman year. He's 0 the last 2 years. His passer rating is 128.1. And his freshman year is 51.4. He's declined drastically since his freshman year. That's crazy.
But they see that potential in him, and that's why he's such a high draft pick and high on the big board.
Yeah, and then he lined up in the slot 10 times, corner 120, box 20, deep 4. His coverage grade is 66.3. His run defense grade is 64.9. His completion percentage is 50. Coverage grade is 66.3. Where he wins is his athleticism. He's uber athleticism, acceleration, agility, speed, change of direction, you name it, he has it. That's the skill set you want to play from a coverage man in the NFL. What's his role? Island. Put Singletary in a press man on the outside and don't worry about the rest of your defense. He could be that in that island corner that doesn't require safety to help to go toe-to-toe with his game's best. So kind of like Jalen Ramsey. What can he improve on? Consistency. Singletary has put up too much lackadaisical tape this past 2 seasons. That wasn't unique to him on the LSU roster, but there were some uninspiring attempts to get involved in plays he should have not been involved in. Shades of Dominique Rodgers, Camardi, whatever.
Dominique Rodgers-Camardi is a good guy to be kind of compared to.
His position traits is change of directions. His change of direction is 9 out of 10. His frame is 8 out of 10. His physicality 7 out of 10. Awareness 7 out of 10. Speed is a 10 out of 10. His pros is a first-class speed. No fear of getting beaten up. Pressman pedigree. Lined up in the pressman of 49% of his career coverage snaps. He has the kind of feet and hips you don't see every day for a tall corner. Collins' extensive injury history, missed time with the leg 2020 and foot injuries 2021, which I expect his stats being lowered because of. Tackling an afterthought to his game, missed 17.9% of his tackles. Too often lost when passing receivers into the zone coverage. Most drafted by Jets 24, Giants 19, and Falcons 11.
You want to take the next guy? That's a pass rusher out of
Oregon.
Out of Oregon.
How do you say it? Kayvon
Thibodeaux,
I think.
Kayvon
Thibodeaux, we'll say that. His position is an edge rusher, 6'5", 258. His age is 21.2. He's out of Oregon. Thibodeaux has an elite first-step combine with an ideal frame for the position where he lacks refinement. That combination has led to a 91.5 PFF passer rush rating in 2021.
He's a prospect, and he's very good. His upside is better than Aiden Hutchinson on number 1 on the big board. But he's still going to be a project, and he kind of has a lot of potential.
Yeah, I've seen this guy go in various spots in the draft. Career highlights, 19 pressures in 2-week stretch versus Cal and UCLA, 5 run stops versus Stanford, 3 sacks versus Utah in a Pac-12 title. His overall PFF grade is 83.9, games played is 11, defensive snaps 560. All his stats are peaking at his senior year. Actually, is he a senior? No, we didn't specify that. Pass rush snaps is 290, run defense snaps 233, sacks is 9, hits 11, hurries 28. Batted, he has 0 balls.
He's a sophomore.
He's a sophomore? Wow.
Wait, is he a sophomore?
No, I think he's a junior then.
Then now he's a junior.
All right. Snaps by alignment. He mainly lines up over the outside tackle.
Sophomore, probably.
21 comparables. 91.5 pass rush grade. Run defense grade is 96.8. True pass is 92.1. Pass rush with win rate is 23.1. Run stop rate is 8.3. Where he wins is his traits. Thibodeaux wins with his classic pass rushing trinity of explosiveness, length, and bend. There's no one better in that regard of the draft class, and not many better in the NFL. What's his role? An all-around edge rusher. He's a day 1 starting edge. Thibodeaux is at his best form in wide alignment, but the team can put him head up over a tight end or an outside shoulder if tackle if he wants. What can he improve on is pass rush plan. Pass rush moves. Even though his bull rushes go rip, even his bull rush and go to rip could use some work. Yet he doesn't even do that much moves. Shades of raw Myles Garrett. So basically Myles Garrett, but a little less of Myles Garrett. Position traits is
non-refined as Myles Garrett is. That's the word to say.
Balance is a 7 out of 10. Strength is a 7 out of 10. Explosiveness is a 10 out of 10. Hand usage is a 4 out of 10. He needs to improve on that. 4 out of 10 is not a great score. and his level is 10 out of 10. Pros, unreal first step players who get off that fast aren't usually 20 pounds lighter. His frame is made to play the edge in the NFL. Broad shoulders and ideal length. Flexibility and bendy around the edge. Plus cornering. Cons, pass rushing plan is lacking. We stated that before. He can focus too intently on blockers and close sight of ball carriers in the run game. Timing with his hands and pass rusher is very inconsistent. Most drafted by Giants 30%, Jets 24%, and Lions 22%. I think him and Aiden Hutchinson are going to be the top 2 edge rushers in the draft. Aiden Hutchinson is obviously going first, but I think he's going to be a top 5 pick for sure.
Definitely, it's a very good draft pick by anyone who drafts him. Now we're heading to do number 5 on the big board, and it's going to be our first offensive lineman, but it's not going to be offensive lineman you kind of think or know. It's Charles Cross, the tackle out of Mississippi State, standing at 6'5", 310. He's a redshirt sophomore, and his age is 21.2. After flashing traits in his first year as a starter in 2020, he became a dominant pass rusher in 2020. Pass protector in 2021. After allowing 44 pressures on 574 of pass blocking snaps last season, he only gave up 16 pressures on 719 pass blocking snaps this year. So he improved very much dramatically to this season. He didn't allow pressure on 66 pass blocking snaps versus Alabama in 2021, which is, that's good. Alabama's got everybody rushing you, and they're all 5 stars there. He's got 50-plus pass blocking snaps in 10 out of pass blocking snaps in 10 out of 12 games in 2021. His career stats, his overall grade has gone up dramatically from 2020 to 2021. He made a big improvement from 64.4 to 86.7, so he's played very good. He's willing to learn, and he's played a tremendous season. He's played 12 games that season, the most out of any of his 3 seasons. He played 919 offensive snaps.
I'm back.
Run blocking snaps, he had 200 run blocking snaps. Pass blocking snaps is 719 pass blocking sacks. He only allowed 2 sacks last season, which is improvement from 2020 where he allowed 6 sacks. So only allowing 2 sacks, that's pretty dang good in the whole season. If you have 919 total snaps, 2 sacks, that's pretty good. He only had 14 hurries, which is not bad for what he plays. He played the left tackle's position last year, and all 3 of his years basically played left tackle, although he did play 4 snaps in 2019 as a right tackle. But he played majority, 919 of his snaps this past season at left tackle. His comparables, his run blocking grade is an 87.2, very good. His pass blocking grade is an 84.9, he's very good. His zone pass block grade is 83.2, which is very good. His gap grade is 70.9, could use some improvement. He's a true pass set, pass blocking, and his grade was 78.6. And what he wins is his length. He has his very long arms. He's very good to be a blindside pass protector. His feet length and his core strength all at the top notch. He's been a pass protector a ton over the past 2 seasons, and that's what he'll probably be in the NFL. What is his role? He is a left tackle. He's a cross is a left tackle. There will likely be a learning curve early on, but getting this guy on the football field should be no problem. Where he can improve, kind of his footwork is kind of little bit sloppy. The most encouraging thing for Cross is that he can still improve in a lot of areas with his skill set. He's very young. He's graded well despite his inconsistent footwork, and if he gets that inconsistent footwork, man, he could be a very good offensive lineman for a team. He's got shades of Laramie Tunsil without the gas mask. But so that's a very good offensive tackle to be rated to. His position traits, he's got a 7 out of 10 balance, 7 out of 10 strength, Explosiveness, he's got an 8 out of 10. His frame is a 9 out of 10. His flexibility is a 7 out of 10. His pros, he's super light on his feet. Upper echelon abilities. He uses his length very well, pinching, timing placements, and getting good blocks. Progressions year over year has improved tremendously to 2021, so that is a pro in his column. Inexperienced pro-style run blocking concepts that could hurt him in the NFL. Another con would have to be needs more consistent depth in his pass sets. He doesn't have as many sets as some other offensive linemen in this draft do. He's got a unique stance with his feet really tight together, leaning towards his massive first step, which could bite him in the butt in the NFL. If you take a massive first step, you can get a edge rusher that can just wait for him to take a step, then kind of go around him. He's most drafted by the Giants, Giants at 39%, the Panthers at 18%, and the Jets at 8%. Right. Now, you want to take over the next one?
Yep, I'll get on to the next one. We're nearing 45 minutes now, so we'll probably start to speed these up a little bit.
We'll do top 10 then.
Yeah, we'll do top 10. We'll go over top 10. Akeem Onwenu, position, he's a tackle, 6'4", 320, out of North Carolina State. Career highlights is 5 Big Ten blocks versus Mississippi State, 80-plus overall grade in his first 6 games. Career stats, overall grade is 91.6, games played 12, offensive snaps 819, run block snaps 319, pass block snaps 500, sacks 3, hurry is 10, and 0 hits snapped by lineman. His left tackle is all of his snaps. He lined up at left guard for 239 snaps in 2020, which he could be used as a left guard if needed in the NFL. 2021 comparables. Run block grade is a 93.8. Pass block grade is a 78.3. Zone grade is a 95.9, which seems like he'd be a great run blocker for teams that have great running backs such as Derrick Henry and the Titans, but they do not have draft picks, so they can't get him. Gap grade is 78.6. True pass set block grade is a 68.1. Where he wins is with his power. He wins with his prestigious power throughout his frame when he uncoils his hips into contact. Defenders move backwards. It's just his physics due to the amount of force he's capable of generating. His role as a tackle guard. I wouldn't argue with teams that see him as a guard because of how nasty he is in a phone booth. This guy can stay at left tackle, though he should be given every opportunity he succeeds there. Where he can improve is his pass sets. His pass sets need completely reworked. His base is very inconsistent and has limited answers for pass rushers at the movement. Ikwanu definitely has the tough physical capability to clean all that up. Definitely a very, very important lineman to have. A lot of these teams need a lineman. Like we've seen so far, there's 2 of these linemen that we've gone over. This guy's definitely a great pickup for multiple teams. Shades of Kelechi Azm, I don't know. A bunch of these names we can't pronounce. Position traits, his balance is 6 out of 10, strength is 10 out of 10, explosiveness is 8 out of 10, his frame is 9 out of 10, his flexibility is an 8 out of 10, his pros, biggest bully in college football, defenders don't want him to see them coming in their way, longest arms that can pack a punch if he's lashed onto your pads, good luck, incredible power in his lower half, legs like a tree trunks. Pass sets are wholly inconsistent and unpolished, almost clicks to seals, didn't even take vertical sets, just angle sets. Agility and mirror ability are just okay and not high end for his position. Most drafted by 54% for the Giants, 18 for the Jets, and 9 for the Jags.
And that ends his linemen. And as we mentioned, we said 2 other linemen before we said the Alabama guy. Well, the Alabama guy is on our big board at number 7.
Alabama guy's gonna go first. He's gonna go I think he's gonna go first overall in the actual draft. I think this is what they had him as.
I don't know. I don't really see that. Evan Neal, which is position, he's a tackle. He's 6'7", 350. He's a junior. He's 21 and a half years old. He played for Alabama Crimson Tide. He's a mammoth 6'7", 350-pounder. One of the most impressive specimens to grace this earth. And he moves like a 50-pound, and he moves like he's 50 pounds lighter than he is. He's only allowed 24 pressures over the past 2 seasons between left and right tackle, which is absolutely insane. Career highlights would be 0 pressures allowed on 58 blocking snaps versus Texas A&M in 2021. He had 1 pressure allowed in the entire 2020 playoffs. That is very good. His overall grade is kind of steady, but it has grown over the years. From 2019, he had a 71.2 to 2020, he had an 83.7, and to 2021, he had an 85.8. So he's gotten better and better, and he's played a bit more games. He played 15 games this season. He had 1,073 offensive snaps. His run block snaps were 423 snaps. Pass block snaps, he had 650. He's only allowed 2 sacks last season, I guess. 5 hits, 8 hurries, very good. In 2021, he played left tackle the whole year. He had 1,071 snaps. In 2020, he played more of a right tackle role, playing 765 snaps, and in 2019 he played left guard at 723 snaps. So he can play on a lot of different positions, and left tackle seems to be a really good spot for him, though. His run blocking grade is an 80.4, very good run blocking grade. His pass blocking grade is an 83.6, which is also a very good grade. His zone grade is an 85.4. I mean, he's a very good guy. Good guy to have on your team. His gap grade is a 62.1. He could get better blocking in the gaps, but he certainly could improve on it with his frame. His true pass set as a blocker is a 74.6. Where he wins is his physicality. He's a very physical guy. You don't underestimate his physicality. He can do things when he gets his hands on defenders that
Jalen.
Jalen Waddle's gonna go.
No.
Let it go.
No.
It's gonna go.
3.
It's all right. We'll pick that up later. But he's a freak when he gets doing what he's doing. He's very good. His role, he's an all-around tackle. He's a starting NFL tackle. His experience in both the tackle and slot means he won't have necessary to worry about a Penei Sewell situation earlier on. What he can improve on is his balance. His balance, he gets a little too top-heavy, and it's a massive concern. The good news is he's improved on those areas in 2020, but they still aren't solved by any means, and that could be a bit of a issue. And his positional traits would be his balance is a 4 out of 10, not very good balance. The strengths is a 9 out of 10. The explosiveness is a 10 out of 10. His frame is a 10 out of 10. His flexibility is a 6 out of 10. Some of the pros would be he's a true behemoth, and he's not going to out-physical, and no one's going to out-physical him at 6'7", 350 pounds. He's explosive out of his stance. He moves like 50 pounds lighter, as you said. He started at different positions every year in his career, so he's moved around in different parts of the offensive line, which is very good to know. Mm-hmm. And his cons would be weighs consistently out of his toe and runs and pass blocks. He's a little iffy on that. On the ground, on the ground after first contact, you can kind of maybe get around him. Struggles with the stunts and reacting to unexpected post-snap movements. He's not very good at doing that. Most drafted by the Giants at 39% and the Jags at 28% and the Jets at 11%, although he could go a little higher. Do you want to head us to the next one?
Yep, I'll go off on this next one. We got Trent McDuffie. He's a position. He's a cornerback. He's at 5'11", so a very small guy. 195, so light too. Outside of the length, McDuffie has everything you could want from a high-end cornerback. And also 5'11", McDuffie plays consistently bigger than his size listed. He's allowed only 16 catches from 36 targets for 111 yards with no score and 5 pass breakups. That's amazing. Career highlights didn't allow more than 39 yards in any game in 2021. It kind of sounds a lot like Sauce Gardner. They're both similar. Allowed 2 deep receptions in his career. This guy's amazing. Career stats, overall grade is an 86.8. Games played is 11. Defensive snaps is 702, which completely tripled his 2020 snaps. Coverage snaps is 296. Receptions is 16. Targets is 36. Yards is 111. Touchdown 0. Interception 0. Passer rating is 52. Snap alignment, D-line is 31. Slot 12. Corner 593. Box is 58 and deep is 7, which could give a bunch of versatility and a bunch of options for teams that could line him up on different spots. Because considering he's a corner and line up on the D line, that's amazing. 2021 comparables, coverage grade is 89.3, run defense grade is 78.4, completion percentage is 44.4, coverage grade is 89.3, and where he wins is with his agility. McDuffie wins with his elite burst and physical playstyle. He is seasoned in zone coverage and has the ideal skill set to continue to do that in the NFL level. What's his role? Versatile zone. McDuffie can play outside. He could play slot. He could even play safety if you want. He's got a versatile skill set that can handle any coverage role. Where he can improve is the press. McDuffie's press technique is a work in progress. He'll stop his feet when he extends his arms to initiate contact and leave him vulnerable if he whiffs. Shades of Jair Alexander with lesser ball skills, which is amazing. We know Jair Alexander is an amazing player. Lesser ball skills isn't necessarily a great thing, but he can improve on that because he still is in college. Position traits, his change of direction is a 9 out of 10. His frame is a 5 out of 10, as we know he's a small guy, kind of like Desmond Ridder. Physicality is an 8 out of 10. Awareness is a 9 out of 10. Speed is an 8 out of 10. Pros, he's accurate, accelerates like a Tesla, can get moving in a hurry. The best tackling corner in the class, especially for his size, that's amazing. Comes in with uncoachable ferocity. Maybe short, but isn't small. Stout build with strength throughout. Cons, may not meet height or length thresholds on some teams. So some spot drop, zones coverage, and limited press man experience. Ball protection nowhere close to that of his peers. Only 9 pass breakups on 100 targets. Most drafted by the Eagles, 22%, Vikings, 19%, and the Jets, 10%. I could definitely see him going to the Eagles, maybe give him some more speed in the backfield. This guy seems very fast. Very little, but very fast to protect some of those receivers.
And we're going to do 10, and we're on number 9 now. One of my favorite cornerbacks, Ahmad Gardner, position cornerback out of Cincinnati Bearcats. He stands at 6'3", 200 pounds. He's a junior. He's 21 and a half years old. Gardner has never allowed a single touchdown in his career despite starting since he was a true freshman. In 2021, he took his game to another level, only allowing 131 yards in 14 games, which is absolutely extraordinary. You could say that he played not in the Power 5 conference, but still, it is very good. His career highlights, he's never allowed a touchdown, like we said, and he's allowed 14 yards on 4 targets against Alabama in the college football semifinal in 2021. So he can play against the big boys. Mm-hmm. He can play against the big boys. He's proved that over and over again. He's seen a kind of dip in overall grade back up to a rise. In 2021, his his PFF grade was 87.1. He played 14 games last season. He had 968 defensive snaps. His coverage snaps was 482. His targets, he had 37 targets his way. He allowed only 122 yards in 14 games. Very good. He had 3 interceptions that season. His passer rating is 22.6. So it is all right. His snaps by alignment, he mostly lines up in the corner at 847 snaps, but occasionally you'll see him in the box with 64 snaps. And in the slot, they line it up in the slot a bit at 51 snaps. They'll rarely line him up in the D line and deep because they line him up those times 3 each. His comparables, his coverage grade is an 87.2, very good coverage grade. His run defense grade is a 77.8. Not as good as his pass coverage, but it's pretty good. His completion percentage is 48.6. His coverage grade, 87. His coverage grade is put on here 3 times. I don't know why I did that. Where he wins is his press man. Gardner wins with his unique frame, his physical style, and his flawless technique. His 2021 season tape will impress you, and it will not get many penalties. He's very good. He's more of a press island kind of guy. He presses, and the more press you do, he's better. Well, he's going out of style as every down coverage in the league. He's a high leverage situation. He's a third downs, goal line type guy, a guy you'd want out there for those situations. We'll call for press corners. Gardner is that press corner. What he can improve on is zone reps. Gardner will have to play off ball more in the pros. He has the length to shut the window down in zone, but he needs more reps. He's shades of Jimmy Smith. Some of his position traits would be his change of direction is a 6 out of 10, could use some improvement. His frame is a 10 out of 10, physicality 10 out of 10, awareness is 8 out of 10, his speed is 6 out of 10, could improve in that. His wingspan is very good. It's one of his pros. Another pros would be his He ends the routes before they start. He knows exactly where the ball is going to be, and he puts himself in a situation to succeed in it. Not allowing a touchdown in college, it's pretty good, and I'd say he's pretty good at doing that. He's got a lot of experience with man coverage, and if you're trying to run a man system, he's got 851 press coverage snaps in his career against press. I mean, his cons, his tendencies to get a little tall when flopping his hips and slowing transition. His change of direction isn't the best, but he could get improved on with some nice fundamentals. Speed is nothing special, but it's not as big of a concern, but it could be a concern on some teams that want really fast corners. Only a few games against top competitions in his career that could be seen as a con. Although the game he did play against Alabama, he played lights out. He's most drafted by the Giants at 26%, the Jets at 21%, the Falcons at 10%. Why don't you round us up with number 10 on the big board?
Real quick, we got another piece of NFL free agency news. The Chargers signing former Rams DT Sebastian Joseph Day to a 3-year, $24 million deal. Chargers adding another man to their D line.
Yeah,
we're getting a little break in this NFL draft news, but we got to get on with it.
Okay.
Chargers building another ultimate team. The last guy is George Karifladis, whatever. Position is edge, 6'4", 275. He's a junior at 20.9, so almost 21 years old. He's a versatile Ironman who could do almost anything a team could ask for. He played at least 49 snaps, but all in one game past season, and finished with a 90.6 PFF pass rushing grade. Averaged over 70 snaps a game as a true freshman. Career high 12 pressures versus Iowa. Overall grade is an 87.2. Games played is 12. Defensive snaps is 667. Pass rush snaps is 335. Run defense snaps 331. Sacks 5. Hits 14. And hurries is 35. The only time he batted a ball was in his freshman year. He mainly lines up on the outside with 622 snaps. He lined up over the tackle 38 times. So not much. 2021 comparables, 90.6 pass rush grade, 75.1 run defense grade, 90.8 true pass set rush grade. Pass rush grade win rate is 23.6. Run stop rate is 7.1. Where he wins is mentality. He brings bring it snap after snap. He doesn't have to come off the field. He could line up anywhere along the defensive line and still consistently make an impact. What's his role as a versatile edge, can win from anywhere, but he's likely best at 3-4 defense or end or similar role. You want him getting on a lineman right away at the snap. Where it can improve is go-to moves. He could simply stand to simplify his pass rushing plans where he gets in the NFL. This guy's who can forklift anyone, but he tries to throw a kitchen sink at you as a pass rusher. Shapes of Courtney Upshaw. Position traits, balance is a 5 out of 10. Strength is a 9 out of 10. Explosiveness is a 5 out of 10. Hand usage is a 9 out of 10. And bend is a 7 out of 10. Pros is a devastating bull rush, so much power through his lower half. Versatility is a massive plus. He can legitimately line up against an inside full time. Bowling ball type for him. He has some serious thump to him. Cons, gets too cute at times. He tries to be a speed rusher despite weighing 275 pounds. Length is below average for his position, not ideal for a bull rusher. And he can get locked up in the run game and be sluggish to shake hands off him. Most drafted by is the Giants 23%, Eagles 15%, and the Vikings 10%. Most definitely, those teams need an edge rusher, so they should pick him up.
Very much so. This has been our ASP draft coverage. Yes, we didn't get through everything we want, but that's for next week's episode.
Let us know how you like this. We got through 10 people. We could next week. We're gonna try to do a mock draft next week. Maybe we could
We'll do some big
throw a
board
mock
and
draft
then
up on the
mock
TV.
draft up there. We could definitely do that.
Yeah.
But this has been the Anytime Sports Podcast, and we'll see you later.
I be out of pocket, I be acting rude. Think I gotta chill, check my attitude. When you gon' start acting brand new?